What's up, y'all? Jared Sandler here with you. Time now for our Rangers pregame news and notes. I actually want to focus on a situation from last night's game. I'm someone who probably fits more the new school mold than the old school mold in terms of, how I think about this game. But I'm also someone who's very quick to point out that it doesn't have to be one or the other. That, old school is seen as antiquated and out of place, out of touch. I don't look at it that way. I think that the best way is to really mold the two together. And I thought last night was an example of someone who is new school using an old school strategy to help win a game. And that's Chris Woodward utilizing the bunt. In the ninth inning after Willie Calhoun homered, there was the error that got a man on. And ultimately the Rangers had a situation where they had runners at first and second and nobody out. The pitcher spot, the catcher spot, Jonah Heim due up, and Chris Woodward elected to pinch hit Jose Trevino. Jonah Heim's a switch hitter, so it wasn't about the platoon advantage. Either way, it was going to be a right-handed hitter against a left-handed thrower and Taylor Rogers, but he elected to go with Jose Trevino, who's the better hitter, also the better bunter. And the approach was, for Jose to bunt. Now, we'll get into some stuff specific to the bunt here in a second, but the Rangers were down one with runners at first and second, nobody out. And, a lot of people, myself included, don't love the idea of the sack bunt. I don't love giving outs away, especially in a strikeout heavy world. All of a sudden you bunt, you give up an out. Yeah, you might have runners at second and third, but you're a strikeout away. And now all of a sudden the bunt really it matters, but contact on its own is not going to score a run with two outs like it might with one out. But there are a lot of reasons in that specific situation why it made sense. First of all, you have a good bunter. Jose Trevino is a good bunter. Second of all, you've got a guy in Taylor Rogers on the mound who's a sinker baller. Sinker ballers generate ground balls. What do ground balls do with runners at first and second? They lead to double plays. What do double plays do? They kill innings. Who's the batter? Jose Trevino. Does he run well? No. Does he hit ground balls? Yes. By bunting, you are, I don't want to say totally eliminating the possibility of the double play, because we have seen double plays on bunts. If it goes right back to the mound or right in front of the plate and the catcher, whips it to second and they go back to first, whatever the case is. But by bunting, you are very much lowering the probability of a double play. A double play doesn't end the inning at that point, but it does, make things a lot more difficult. The other factor here is who's on deck. You have Isaiah Kiner-Falefa on deck. What are some of his strengths? Really good contact guy. He's someone you don't fear striking out as much as you do the average player. Someone who, has good back control, uses all fields, someone who can go to the right side, someone who you trust in. You got to get him in from third with less than two out situation. A few things here specific to how it played out. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa ended up hitting a ball that more often than not is not going to score someone. But because Andrelton Simmons and the infield were in, it did allow the runner, Charlie Culberson, to tag from third and score. One question about the bunt is, well, are you then playing for the tie on the road instead of trying to play for a lead? Typically on the road, you want to play for a lead. What I say is, it doesn't matter if you play for a lead or for a tie. If you don't get the third run, the tying run, it doesn't really matter what you're playing for. And also, one thing that Chris Woodward said when I asked him about it earlier today is that if the first pitch to Jose Trevino was a ball, that they would encourage him, it's going to be his choice, but to swing away. Now you're in a fastball count. You have count leverage, especially then if it becomes 2-0. Hey, look to swing, look to do some damage. It didn't play out that way, but it wasn't like the Rangers were blindly going in and saying, you're going to bunt until you get two strikes. So there are always some wrinkles. There are always things that play a role here. The other part is the Rangers had a pretty fresh bullpen. They went one reliever the night before. That was Colby Allard. So they had guys they were comfortable going to. And so they felt like they were in a position where a tie against a Twins bullpen that, really isn't that good this year, a tie could be advantage Rangers. So a lot of different factors there. I just wanted to bring those to the table. All right, one name to follow here. He had 3 walks yesterday, leading off in his season debut in the minor leagues. That's Evan Carter. He's currently playing for Down East. Evan Carter was a high draft pick for the Rangers last year, and he was a much maligned pick because he was not high on some of these rankings that are legitimate. The rankings are important. They do a good job, but rankings last year were a little thrown off because guys, high school kids especially, had a full year in which they weren't able to play to improve their ranking. And Evan Carter is someone who didn't even play in some of these showcases where a lot of these rankings are formed. He's from a small town in Tennessee, Elizabethton, Tennessee, same as Brett Martin, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And, not a lot of people are flocking to Elizabethton, Tennessee. And he's not playing in these perfect game showcases. There were a lot of people saying that if last year's high school season would have happened, Evan Carter would have been much more highly regarded. But he ended up being a second-round pick, 50th overall. And I'm not lying to you when I tell you that I've had 10 people, at least, not associated with the Rangers in any way, come up to me or reach out to me or unsolicited tell me how excited, impressed, fascinated they are by Evan Carter and the player that he could be. The fall league and everything he's done, and the time between the fall league and here, there are a lot of people very excited about him. You want a guy to follow, someone that people aren't talking a lot about. Evan Carter's that guy. This is a guy who I think is going to see his stock rise vastly here over the next next year, 2 years, and someone I really believe has got a very bright future. So follow along with Evan Carter. I'll be doing some minor league stuff here on the pregame news and notes as we now are diving into the minor league season, which is awesome. A couple notes here quickly on Adolis Garcia. He leads rookies in homers and RBIs, all major league rookies, that is, not just in the American League. And he leads the majors in game-winning home runs with 4. We got a Rookie of the Year watch in Adolis Garcia, and he's certainly been fun to follow. Excited to see, how he continues to progress throughout the season. All right, pregame news and notes, a little bit of a different take. Wanted to present a game situation and share that game situation with you all. Thanks for bearing with me. We'll get back to a more traditional pregame news and notes segment, as the week goes on tomorrow and obviously through the weekend with the Mariners and beyond. All right, talk to y'all later. Have a great day. Go.